Gapada pagarga sare dharsa. Hi, I'm Rohit, and this is Mind on a Leash. This course was created to help you understand and deal with your mind. An untamed mind can cause an incredible amount of suffering, and we're here to help you in being able to learn skills and techniques that will break through the mind's control over you. In previous videos, we talked about the egoic mind, how it is like the virtual self, and how it has certain apps or things that run it, such as the inner critic. And that inner critic tends to judge and criticize and really be hard on us. Today, we're going to dive right into how do you take charge of that inner critic? How do you take charge of the mind and all its chatter and everything else that it does so that we can really calm it down? This is a precursor to even meditation. And once you learn these techniques, it'll be a lot easier to be able to meditate and even experience deeper levels of a quiet mind and of your true, authentic self. Our ego identity is based on misinformation. This is a big statement I'm making, I realize, and I want you to really think about it. Misinformation because the people who program that ego identity, our parents, our teachers, friends, media, and all the circumstances of our life which led us to believe what we believe, didn't really know what they're talking about for the most part. They were judgmental of us. They told us we're not good enough. They told us we're stupid or we're ugly or we're this or we're that. Based on their criteria, based on what they thought. Our egoic mind was unconsciously programmed by a world that is either unaware of what it's doing or the impact it's having on us, or doesn't care, as in the case of advertisers and media and stuff like that. They only care about a profit. They only care in what's in it for them. Our ego mind has been running the show and controlling us all our life, and it will not relinquish control easily. If we want to make progress spiritually, if we want to find happiness, peace, security, and love, then we must take charge of the mind so that it may serve us rather than we serving it. The first thing to learn is this. Number one, I am the owner or the boss of my mind. I am the owner or the boss of my mind. My mind is my employee or assistant. The mind exists to serve me. That is the soul. That is the true me. I do not exist to serve my mind. Just that one thought, that one idea can revolutionize your life. The fact that you can say back to your mind, I am the boss of you. You don't get to call me names. You don't get to put me down. You don't get to judge me. That will make a huge difference in your life. I must have authority over my mind. I must take charge of my mind. I must command my mind. I must train my mind to serve me. Why? Because power, respect, and obedience, they are only given to those who stand up and command authority and leadership. It's similar to when you're training a dog. The dog has to know who's the alpha. The dog needs to know who's the boss. And it's the same with the mind. If you don't take charge, if you don't train it, then it will be like an unruly child or an untrained dog or an employee who has no boss over them. They're going to do whatever the heck they want, right? It is important to be assertive. And for that, I'd like to make it very clear. Being assertive is not being aggressive. To be aggressive is to say, oh, mind, I hate you. You shut up, you stupid mind. Being abusive with it. Anger, none of that will work. Submission also won't work. Avoiding the mind, leave me alone, don't bother me, or begging it, pleading with it. Please leave me, don't bother me, I'm tired right now. Don't give me a hard time. None of that's going to work. Instead, we need to be assertive. What does it mean to be assertive? It means to really stand in your power. So let me give you a couple of tips on how to go about doing that. The first thing is put your shoulders back, make your spine straight, look squarely in front of you, and then from that place, with authority, speak to your mind. Practice saying no. Be firm when you say this. Not wavering, not maybe no, but no. No, I'm not interested. No, you will not call me names. Ever. No, you will not put me down. Under any circumstances. Do you understand? I'm not saying this to you. I'm saying it to the mind. No. Notice how I say it. You will not Notice how I break up the words. You will not talk to me in this way. What you'll find is that when you learn to set boundaries with your mind, when you learn to become firm with your mind, when you learn to say no to your mind, that practice in setting boundaries and in being firm and being assertive is something that will now be with you. Once you practice it in every area of your life, you will not let anyone mistreat you. You will not let anyone talk badly to you, and you will not let anyone put you down. It's a life skill that will serve you in every area of your life. This is the key word you're going to need to learn: no, and how to say it firmly. One of the biggest problems we find is that most people will sit there listening to their mind as it lectures them, as it beats them up, as it calls them names. They will sit there as if in a trance. And you have to become really aware of this trance. It's a habit. It's been going on for perhaps your entire life. To snap out of it, to snap out of that trance is really the challenge, because only then can you begin to take charge of the mind. So the moment it starts to go there, you need to take action. You want to be careful to not let your mind beat you into submission, not even for a few seconds. Immediately say no. Set a firm, non-negotiable boundary. It is your job as the boss of your mind to train your mind on how to treat you. No one can do it for you. Nobody. It is something that you've got to take on as a fundamental responsibility in having a mind. Not learning to do it will be at your own peril. It will be the result of huge damage to your self-esteem, to your confidence, to your happiness, to your ability to function in this world. I want you to take a good look at this picture. Now, that picture will tell you what it is you need to do. You need to become an assertive warrior. Your first step is to make your posture straight, your spine straight, your shoulders back. You need to have your feet planted firmly on the ground, apart, your eyes wide open, and bring your energy up from your navel, radiated through your eyes and your voice like laser beams. Then in a low volume, in a staccato voice, very firmly say to your mind, no, you will not talk to me like that. No, you will not call me names. Do you understand? What you're doing is establishing house rules or code of conduct with your mind. You are letting your mind know, I am the boss of you. You work for me. You do not, under any circumstances, get to call me names or judge me or punish me. And this applies 24/7. See, it's like training a dog. The dog has to know that the rules you've set are firm, that they apply at all times. Because if you sometimes have a rule and sometimes you break your rule, then you're giving a mixed message. And the result of that mixed message is that that dog, or even if it's a child, the child will push harder. They will test to see, where are your limits? Where is the real boundary? You're saying sometimes no, but then sometimes you let them do that. Sometimes you let the child hit you and sometimes you don't. So the child will do it even more, because then they don't have a clear, established, firm boundary. And it's the same with your mind. The mind needs to know very clearly, unequivocally, and with complete certainty that this is where the line is drawn. There is no crossing it ever. Along with that, you need to be able to say to yourself, I give myself permission to make mistakes. It is perfectly okay for me to be flawed and imperfect. This is very important. I'd like you to really make a note of that. I give myself permission to make mistakes. It is perfectly okay for me to be flawed and imperfect. The fact of the matter is that as human beings, we were designed to be flawed and imperfect. We are inevitably going to make mistakes. There is no way around it. And so you need to give clear direction to the mind that this is how it is. And since you are the boss of the mind, the employee does not get to call the boss names or put the boss down. Imagine working in an office or having a company or an organization where your employee comes up to you and says, boss, you're such an idiot. What is wrong with you? How could you make such a mistake? You're such a loser. Do you think that employee could get away with that kind of talk? Absolutely not. right? They know clearly who's the boss, and they know clearly what the code of conduct is. So that is how it needs to be in here. Even if the boss does make a mistake, even if the boss messes up, even then, the employee under no circumstances gets to be able to speak badly to the boss. Never, ever. Your mind is your employee. Your mind is your servant. Your mind is there to serve you. It doesn't get to bully you, ever. I hope you're really, really clear about this. The boss is always the boss, 24/7. Even if he or she messes up, you never abdicate your position as the boss. You can allow your mind to give you constructive inputs. You can allow it to bring you facts and figures. You can explore possibilities with your mind, but never judgment or criticism. The mind floods us with thoughts, uses our wounds and fears against us. It teases us, it taunts us, it belittles us, and overpowers us. And we sit there mesmerized, listening to it for hours. The longer the trance, the weaker we get. We must snap out of the trance as soon as possible. I would say immediately, but as soon as you become aware of it, is the time to snap out of it. Act immediately. Remember, the boss is always the boss, 24/7, always in charge, always vigilant, never needing to beg and tell the mind, I'm tired, leave me alone, stop bugging me. No self-bashing breaks or holidays ever. Inconsistency is your enemy. Inconsistency will make the job harder. The mind will get confused. It will struggle to find limits. It will test your breaking point. Your mind will become a brat. You can do this. If you can drive a car, then you can tame your mind. Just as a car has a steering wheel that changes the direction, so also can the mind be steered from one direction to another. Just by asking it a different question, just by looking at a different perspective, you can steer the mind. Just as a car has brakes, you can brake the mind by saying no. Just as you need to be consistent on the road and on the freeway, in the same way you need to be attentive to where your mind is going. And just as you have a GPS in the car, you need to be able to be the one that's guiding your mind and giving it direction. I can also compare this to dog training. If you can train a dog, then you can train your mind. You need to be the alpha. You need to be assertive. You need to set boundaries. You need to be consistent and be considerate at the same time. It's a lot, I know. If you want to learn to love yourself, then you must learn to take charge. You must fiercely protect yourself from your critical mind, just as a mother protects her baby. It's up to you to be the boss, to be the protector, to be the parent, to be the one in charge of your mind. In the next video, I'm going to give you a whole lot more tools on how to manage your mind and take charge of it. That next one is extremely powerful. Make sure you watch it. There's a lot of information in there, so be ready. I'll see you then.